Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Knighthawks media availability as we get ready for this home and home stand over the next 2 weeks against the Vancouver Warriors, starting out this weekend at home at 7 p.m. at Seager and Shortino at the Blue Cross Arena. Hazer, we'll start out with you. You get the bye week. You're already a third of the way through the season. We kind of talked about it a little bit after that Toronto game, but how has it been to kind of get this far through the season and then be able to sit and reflect a little bit on things with that bye week?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good time. And like things change perspective a little bit when you do get some time away, right? But yeah, we're in a good spot. Again, just looking at those last through 6 games, their first 6 games, um, really highlights that when we control what we're able to control, we put ourselves in a good spot for good results. I think our two losses, we worked quite ourselves, got taken advantage of, and ended up on the wrong side of the score sheet. So we just gotta this week especially, these next 2 weeks, playing Vancouver twice here in the next 2 weeks is going to be a real big test for us. We should have plenty of motivation, especially coming back or having the first one in Rochester. They put us out of the playoffs this year. They're a team that everybody's picking to be in the finals. So it's going to be a very good test to see actually what we're going to be made of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you talk about, their team you have that familiarity with from the end of last season, but how familiar do you think you're going to end up being with this group by the time, like second half rolls around next week when you're in Vancouver? Just it's a lot of quarters consecutively against the same opponents.
Yeah, it's going to be. You know what? If you kind of look at it in this way, it's going to be a heck of a chess match. Mouse is really good at picking apart things that give them a little more success. So we got to just make sure what we do is bang on. And offensively, we got to make sure again we keep it simple, but we just use our feet and create that ball movement that we have. We've had good results. Make sure we're doing that with a purpose. And the biggest thing for us is going to be between the restraining lines. Toronto took advantage of that against us, I thought. Vancouver is going to try and highlight that. They got a great goalie that gets the ball up the floor well, and they got guys that get up the floor really well and take advantage of teams when they're napping. So we got to just make sure that a couple of things there are on point, and will take care of itself.
Taylor, for you, just first to this point in the season, you get the bye week already through 6 games of an 18 game regular season. Just kind of how does it feel for you at this point when you kind of take a general look around with everything? And how has it been this year for you specifically, having gotten some more summer box playing time to then come into the season? Has it felt different at all?
Um, it felt really good, to look back on it. Kind of because when you're in the moment, you always kind of pick apart all the mistakes you make. So, now that we're about a third way through the season, like you look back on it and you can kind of pick out the better things. From here on forward, it's for me, it's more of a mental kind of aspect. How do I get in the right headspace and how do I get um, the most out of myself, kind of to continue forward and to kind of keep going on that upwards trend, right? Like my body is probably like it's kind of like not much I can do at that point with my body. I gotta keep my stick skills sharp, but yeah, it's kind of a mental game for me from here on out. And coming off of the summer was good. I really wanted to use the summer as playing like a little more transition, kind of pushing the ball a little bit more. Um, it was good. It was good to come back and start off the season strong with the good start that we had. But I guess from here on out, it's all eyes forward. Kind of moving in the right direction.
Definitely. And obviously, eyes forward means your hometown team for these next 2 games coming up a little bit. Being that the West Coast guy that you are, can you just talk a little bit about your childhood history with the Vancouver Warriors?
Yeah, this is an awesome opportunity to show everybody, how good we are on top of being in my, hometown almost, right? Because we went to games when they were in the Langley Event Center, right? And I was there for that. And then they moved to downtown, and then I went to games then too. So it definitely means something a little bit more. and I'm definitely really excited to get these next two games over with and kind of have a good time with these two games. Yeah.
When you head out to that next one in BC, are you hoping to have a pretty good pack for you there at that game?
Yeah, I think so. I got some family coming. Last year I think was my first time over there, so definitely I had a couple of friends and family. They all made shirts and were excited, and that's always nice when you can go somewhere and you kind of have some people in the crowd supporting you. It feels good. So I'm really lucky and happy to have those guys kind of supporting me. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Brendan?
Just talk a little bit more about, you talked about a third of the season in, and you guys have been able to really gel as a defensive unit. How do you guys feel like you've been playing? Because it certainly seems like compared to last year, this defense has been able to kick it up a notch this year and be a little bit more aggressive than maybe last year.
Yeah, it's so I'm trying to describe it. It's almost like it's easier, like I feel like as the years go on, and you kind of get to know your teammates more and more, like it almost feels like you have to do less, right? Because things just kind of flow in the right way, versus trying your hardest to get things to go your way. Versus I feel like the more now on my third year with the team, like this is the easiest it's been, the most fluent and kind of right flowing that I feel like it's been. And that's to answer your question.
Yeah, and then like just adding on a little bit more about that, like what have you been able to learn about yourself over these first 3 years in the National Lacrosse League as your game has developed, along with the maturation of this team as a whole as well?
Um, for myself, I always kind of struggle with my confidence, and I'd really like to be more confident because I think that I could be one of the best guys out there in every game. And everybody should think that about themselves. But I think I could be, and um, I really want to take kind of more opportunities to take chances and kind of be dominant out there.
About how you've evolved as a player and like how you've evolved along with this team, and you kind of mentioned that in your first answer, but with that confidence, like you talk about as a rookie, you're always like, well, should I be out here? Can I hang with these guys? And last year I think for you, you're like, yeah, I can hang with these guys, and now this year, your mindset is I am one of those guys. So it has
Yeah,
made a difference in your game.
yeah, that's exactly it, right? And then because I've thought about the same thing too, and it's like, well, now you are one of those guys, but you also don't want to do too much, right? You hear people say, don't grip your stick too tight, right? It's right. You've learned, and now you got to let it come to you. Still give your best effort, but you can't over pursue that as well, right? So I think there's a little bit of give and take with everything. It's nice to have these veteran guys that are still here, Lordy, Coates, even Gilray too, right? Chad. Nice to watch them, and also I can keep learning and keep getting better. And so I'm just really excited, really happy to be with this group.
Great. And Coach, you talked a little bit about with Chamberlain about Christian Del Bianco, and what difficulties does he present to your team, and how do you prepare, maybe I don't know, maybe differently, or how you prepare for a guy like that, knowing how successful he's been over the years, and really, I mean, since he's been like in Vancouver for the last, I guess, calendar year, but like half season last year, half season this year. How do you prepare for a guy like that?
You know what? Again, I think it stems a lot on what we do, and I think when we're at our best, our feet are moving, the ball is moving, and the ball just swings side to side. I think that's the key thing for us, is that we got to just make sure that our mindset is, start downhill and then work from inside out. Their success obviously comes, well, again, they're a great all-around team. He's a dynamite goalie, but he's got really good players that play a really good system in front of him as well. So I think the key for us is just to, again, keep it simple for us. Like, let's just use our speed, use our smarts, put ourselves in good shooting opportunities, and it's not going to be going one-on-one against these guys. It's as simple as, again, ball moving, feet moving, and make the most of our opportunities. Like he's as far as an individual player, like he's obviously a great goalie. He's in the spots he needs to be with his defense around him, and he makes that save. The system they run, they have guys heading up floor before almost he makes the save. They're just that confident in him. So offensively, keep it simple, and then at the same time, we got to flick that switch real quick to make sure that we become responsible lacrosse players and don't allow them to run on us as easily as I think they did a little bit last year, and what we faced last week against Toronto.
And focusing on your team, I mean, Zed Williams is a guy that, he's coming off an Achilles injury. You guys had those couple bye weeks at the beginning of the season, another bye week. He really came on in that Buffalo game, had another strong game against Toronto. How have you seen Zed fit into this offense, and what have you seen that you like so far from him?
I've seen a lot, and again, it may not show up in the score sheet every single night, but he's he's a competitor. He wants to make sure he wins every shift and every battle that he's in. I think sometimes, again, it's still getting a little bit comfortable up there. We got a couple of guys that create and use their body very well, and it's in Colorado a little bit. I think he was the main guy in there creating that space. So I think it might be everybody getting used to that. It's now your turn to get inside, and I think that's still going to come. It's still going to gel. But that Buffalo game, he just turned into a different player right before that face-off started. And he's the guy that does not say very much, but he leads by example. And that's, again, another great piece of why he's such a special lacrosse player for us. And we're going to have success because he doesn't have to say, yeah, guys are just going to follow.
And a couple games ago, I believe it was prior to the Buffalo game, you brought in Nathan Kapp. You moved Jeremy Thompson solely to defense, and that has worked out very well. Can you talk about both of those guys? And I mean, Jeremy's not really a new role because he's always played at the back end, but how have you seen Kapp play so far, and how do you like Jeremy as that kind of full-time D guy coming out of the back door?
Yeah, Kapp's given us opportunity and getting us the ball. In Toronto, we had some good success against, again, the guy without a legitimate face-off guy, I guess. And we could have had more opportunities. We just kind of got out battled a little bit. But I think that was our entire game against Toronto. There, we got out battled in certain situations across the floor. But he's doing a good job. He's getting us extra possessions. And as you said, Jeremy's now fresh to play D. Jeremy's been in this league a very long time. Great instincts. He's physical. Again, another guy that wants to make sure he wins every single shift. And it's easy when this group goes together. And again, the biggest thing for all of us in the back end is that we got to just make sure we're moving our feet forward, getting into lanes, getting on hands. And he has the ability to do that, communicates very well, which makes it easier for everybody around him to play off of it as well. So, yeah, it's been 3 games, again, where they're getting comfortable and getting better. And again, we expect big things heading into this weekend for sure.
And the last question for me, I mean, talk a little bit about the guy that's on the call with us. I mean, Taylor's a guy who really has evolved his game over the couple of years he's been with the Knighthawks. I mean, and this year, like we talked about, I think you've really seen his confidence soar, and he's really become that player that you've expected and an integral part of the defense.
Yeah, most definitely. Taylor's a guy now that that even Patty trusts to give him a specific role and know he's going to do that job for us. Again, now I feel this guy's head too big, but he's got great feet. Guys around him give him the confidence to do what he does well. Close gaps, get on hands, create havoc for the guy with the ball. And he's doing a great job. And yeah, like you said, his transition side of things, it's coming, it's developing. I think he reads the situation a heck of a lot better than he did last year, and especially the year prior to that. But you know what? It's also a little bit on us too, where we want to try and grind things out. So we're not cheating up the floor, right? And that's the great thing about all our guys, including Taylor here. When the opportunity is there, he's going to take it. When it's not, he's smart enough to give it to the O, because they're going to do a job, and they have been for the most part this year.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks.
Rip.
I'm good.
Spencer?
Coach, last time we spoke, it was after the frustrating finish against the Rock. Have you got any confirmation from the league about potential missed calls at the end of the game?
We were told they missed a couple things, yes.
And then talking about Kurt Malowski, someone you're very familiar with, whether it's from 2014 finals, playing with him, playing against him, and then in the playoffs last year, what challenges does he bring to the table when you're coaching against him?
Mouse is a very, very, very detailed person in what he does, and how he prepares for the game. And again, he's probably one of the best that highlights, deficiencies in our game, and he looks to attack that time in, time out. So again, Mouse has always been a great teammate. He's a great coach in this league. I always like having, when we face him, because it is a battle. And you know what? Just again, on the personal side of things, it's always nice to just kind of smile while he's getting all worked up, and just see his reaction to that kind of thing. So, but yeah, we're gonna have our hands full. He's going to be fully prepared as he always is, and we just got to make sure we are at our best this weekend. But it's going to be 2 weekends of a very tough battle, and right from the opening face-off, Capper's going to have his hands full, and we're going to have our hands full, and it's about winning the moments.
And then Taylor, this is your now third season in the NLL. What makes this Nighthawks team different from the first two?
Um, I wouldn't say there's anything crazy different, but I've said this before and I'll say it again. Every time we get together, I feel like we're growing and we're moving in the right direction. From my first time at training camp to this last practice we had on Tuesday, like I just feel like it's always improving. It's never stagnant, and we're always working towards something more, something more, something more. Kind of perfecting little things here and there. And I mean, I said this before, I said it again, like I'm really excited and really happy that I'm with this group.
And then one more, this could go to Coach or Taylor, doesn't matter. Post games, I've seen President Seneca down there near the locker room after every game. How does it feel to have a hands-on owner that genuinely cares for this organization?
Um, I think it's really cool. Like, and you can kind of see it too from even just I have a bunch of like Instagram ads coming on of our team, and it really feels like there's somebody backing us, somebody pushing us, and it definitely gives another little oomph to the team almost. I'm not sure the word for it, but like a backbone almost, right? It feels good. I'm really happy that what happened and with the sale there, I'm really happy with it. So.
You know, I mean,
All I got.
Yeah.
no, I was going to say it's nice having a face. Like I say, we're owned by Seneca Nation, and that's a lot of people. But it's nice seeing an individual face down there, shaking our hands, shaking all the boys' hands, because again, it just shows that sense of caring. And as Taylor said, all the back end stuff that we now see, there's people doing the job for just the Nighthawks instead of just doing a job. And again, all respect to all the people that have been part of the Nighthawks since inception. They've done a very good job, but it just seems there's an extra little care to what we do, and again, it makes it a lot more inspiring as a coach, as a player, to make sure that we are, again, not only playing well for our family, but playing well for our ownership group and playing well for the nation. It just gives you a little extra why, a little extra motivation. So it's great to see.
Anything else, Spence?
That's it.
Last question from me. Hazer, obviously back from IR, but the scratch for the game against Toronto was Josh Medeiros, just coming back into the lineup off the bye. What does he kind of add back into that group in terms of the transition game?
Yeah, again, he's another guy on that side of the floor that pushes the pace. We have Taylor pushing from the right side. We got Gilray pushing from the right side, and we got guys pushing from the right side. But it just kind of balances out a little bit that we're going to be like pushing pace on both sides of the floor, so we not as predictable. And again, Josh is a guy that can and will use his frame up there to push some guys around too if he so feels like at that point, or we need him to. And yeah, it just balances us out a little bit. And again, defensively, he's another guy that again takes away time and space. And again, as long as we're all healthy there, we're going to do a real good job together as a group here.
Awesome. Anything else from the group before we wrap things up? Hearing none. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming to our media availability today. Be sure to tune in 7 p.m. on Saturday for the Knighthawks as they take on the Vancouver Warriors.